We are the Martin Group, and we will present Case 10.2 of the Carmichael Outreach. The group members are myself, Anasha. We have Ashley, Cindy, and Curtis. So this case is about adaptive leadership. We will present to you how the leaders had to adapt to the many issues that was going on in the community, trying to assist the community and what their common goal was. Adaptive leadership is when you encourage yourself, when you encourage your staff, and you prepare yourself and you prepare your staff to adapt to the different challenges that go on with you trying to accomplish your goal. And you have to learn new ways to adapt, and that's what the leadership did at Carmichael Outreach. So just a little bit something about the history of Carmichael. This church was in this community that they actually wanted to help. There was drugs, there was poverty in the ways of like low income, homelessness. And it was things that they decided that we are in this community and we want to help to create a better opportunity for them so they can succeed, and we also wanted to succeed. So that's what they did. So in 1988 they created a small nonprofit organization that they called Carmichael Outreach. This was the last line of help for this community. So they were serious in everything that they did to provide an opportunity for the people. So in 1995, the church members and some of the church board decided to disband. And in doing this, they still wanted Carmichael, the outreach program, that organization, to succeed. So they sold the property, they sold the land, they sold the church, and they gave that money to the organization. That they decided that we still want to be close to this community to help them, to help succeed, and that's what they did. And they did not stop their their vision, their goal, and that was to overcome poverty in that society, in that area, and to help with homelessness. They had 3 core values, and that was respect, dignity, and empowerment. With that, they decided to have 19 different programs to help them. Just a few of the programs that they had a housing coordinator, they had a food bank, they had clothing to give these people, they had a medical system to help them. They had a Christmas program. They grew plants for them to assist them any way that they can, so they can succeed in life, so they can become better, so they can get cures for even those had health issues, had any diseases. That's what Carmichael was all about, and that's what they did. So of course the stakeholders will be Carmichael itself, because they were there. They needed to be there. They needed to stay in business, stay helping those people. And also was the persons that they helped. Those who was the biggest stakeholders in this organization. You also had the partnerships that Carmichael gained over the years. You had the people who they leased the housing from, that was a stakeholder, and also any partnership that they grew over this time. With that, there comes issues with anything that you do. So Ashley will discuss how they overcame those issues, and how Carmichael is still in existence today with their same core values and with everything.
According to the case, there are 3 main issues and a few minor issues. Some of the issues were definitely easy to solve, and some were not. First, issue number 1 was financing, the money. Mainly because funds were limited. Carmichael received funds from donations, fundraising, and grants. The money still wasn't enough to cover the target audience and to hire adequate staffing. The staff that they did have working were paid very low wages. The second issue was lack of space in the organization. The outreach program provided free meals, but didn't have enough space to cook the meals. The community felt that the organization was an epic failure. The community wanted the organization to provide safe and affordable housing. The outreach organization wanted to provide homeless people with clothing. But again, they did not have enough space to collect the clothing and store the clothing. Some of the minor technical issues were intoxication problems for the clients on the premises, stealing food and materials, drug paraphernalia in the parking lot. The volunteers that assist didn't have a background check, which was a huge problem. That was one of the policies that was in place from the beginning. The organization wanted to assist single mothers. But again, with having drug paraphernalia in the parking lot, heavy theft issues, and pimps hanging around, that was not going to be an appropriate idea. The staff at Carmichael felt that the people in the community that really needed to be assisted was not going to get that assistance. The third issue, and the most important issue, was leadership. The leaders were forced with challenges with identifying the problem. The problems needed to be identified and defined. Evaluate the options, select an option, document the agreement, and monitor and evaluate what they came up with. The leaders failed to change the location. Because of the poor leadership of the organization wasn't able to grow, and the needs of the community was not met. Some of the challenges were easy again, and some of them were just not. The organization adapted to the environment. Poor leadership, limited funding, limited resources, and sadly, did not meet the needs of the community.
Hey y'all, this is Cindy Bryan. I was part of the Martin group, and we did the outreach, the Carmichael outreach program, and I was in charge of a couple questions. The first one was, what are the desired results? And the desired results was for the at-home project for the housing for the Carmichael outreach program. And the most desired result that Carmichael Outreach would like was to be able to support and protect the deprived and homeless people of Regina, Saskatchewan. Also, Regina was going through economic growth and population increasing, so there was a very strong need for suitable housing. It would assist for the addicts and the homeless to get off the street and to better themselves, to get healthy, and it was also be able to secure families to have their own housing and apartment that they could be secure in and not be on the streets. So they were trying to develop this at-home project, and if the Carmichael was working along with government contracts, and they were trying to offer programs for these homeless and their clients as well, and to retain these rental properties so they could start housing the needy. The programs would also offer support and education for the residents to learn new skills to be able to stay in the housing, so they could still qualify, and little skills even like cooking and cleaning, maintenance skills, just day-to-day living. Some of them, that was just a desired result, is to have the financial support for that home project, and they would collaboratively try to work with landlords to make this program work and give these people a try. I know it's at-risk population, but it would help them to maintain permanent housing. And some of the emotional needs of the stakeholders that were involved, and the stakeholders could be the clients, the homeless, as well as the workers, the volunteers, contractors, financial institutions that help them. But all of the emotional needs of everyone was very important, because it involved just an array of emotional needs within just the corporate culture of Carmichael. They strive for a caring culture and build respect for each other. And then when the employees and volunteers, when they feel that they work for a loving, empathetic culture, they respond greater levels of commitment and teamwork, and just build the community better, the atmosphere, the workplace, whatever the case may be. They show their concern. Another stakeholder would be for the clients, and they had all types of emotional needs, like from hunger even to survival. And I went back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which does start with just survival, and then water and food, rest, and then security. And then as those levels moved up, Carmichael would continue to strive and insist for the stakeholders to reach the levels that they needed to be at each time. Let's see, and also, what's my time? Oh, I'm about up. My last question was there patterns and trends? And yes, I did see that. I saw continuous love and desire to help people, and a caring environment that we just don't see a lot. This seemed to be a very good company. The Bible teaches us to love one another as we have been loved by Christ. And we all need guidance sometimes, so keep that in mind. And God didn't plan for us to go through life alone. So if you have blessings that He is giving you, share those with others, and that they will just multiply. In Proverbs it says, he who is kind-hearted to the poor leads to the Lord, and He will honor them for their actions. So that's Proverbs 19.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to discuss the solutions and recommendations for Carmichael Outreach. This is the case study that the Martin Group had. We decided that it would be best to proceed with the Housing First models for them to become, to move into the housing business and providing housing in the Regina area for those less fortunate, and for those that have found themselves not having affordable housing in the area due to a population increase in the Regina area. We feel that Carmichael has the infrastructure, has the ability to be able to provide a service in that area that would be beneficial to the community and to the people that have found housing not to be very plentiful in that area. So we think it's going to be best for them to hire someone outside, though, to bring in a fresh idea, fresh look, that also has had experience in the area of housing and providing housing in that area, or in the past at least has that background, because it's going to take someone who has that experience to be able to implement the plans that are going to be needed, the infrastructure that's going to be needed for this to be successful endeavor. in that area, but it's very much needed at this time. It's going to be important for them to engage stakeholders. They're going to have to make sure that they're providing the services that they want, and also to determine if it's going to be for single mothers, if it's going to be for families, if it's going to be just for single individual. Are there going to be a section for children or a section for just adults? They'll have to make sure they come to grips and make sure they have that in place. And really developing those partnerships in the community is going to be very important, because the community is going to be needed to make this happen and to make it be successful. The community is going to have to be very much involved, very much a part of what they're doing. And so making sure that the churches in the area, different nonprofits also involved as well, to make sure also that they're providing the service that's needed for this time. You look at Mark 10:45, which is probably the most powerful passage that I have actually read during this class, where it talks about, for even the Son of Man came not to serve, not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a reason for many. I think it's very important that leaders look at themselves as servants for the people that have entrusted them or have given their trust in them to be leaders. We need to understand that it's important, and I think that's what the leadership at Carmichael is going to have to instill and have to make sure that they are presenting to the people that they serve, so that they are servants, that they are there to provide that service for those people. So servant leadership is very important. That'll be vital for the success of the Carmichael Initiative for Housing.